property tax transfers, there hasn't been as much of that this year, and so the trust fund for Parks and Recreation has decreased significantly, and there's only going to be about $7 to $9 million available as part of that program. And there's over $23 million in requests across the state. It would seem to make a lot of sense to me that if the state were to take some of those stimulus funds and put it into that program alone and be able to fund most of those projects, that they would get what they're looking for, immediate expenditure of funds on big construction projects, putting people back to work. Unfortunately, right now I feel like a voice in the woods because it doesn't seem like it's occurred to anyone else to do that. I mentioned it today to the director. Thought it was a good idea, but that's probably as far as it would go. So that's the update on this point. And I'll leave it to council. We will have to make a final formal agreement. So unless the council is of the mind to not accept the stimulus funds, I would need to know that now, so I can return those funds.
Or any matching funds required?
There is no matching money required. We have already expended some funds for the engineering work that we've done. There was a mention that the MPO was looking for matching funds, but in my opinion, we've already done that. We've provided the engineering work for the project already. So at this point, we're not asking for any additional matching funds.
Would we be able to recoup the money that we already spent from?
No, they're not letting me do that. As a matter of fact, I've had to stop going forward on the project completely until we get the agreement in place, because any money spent before the agreement is in place is not reimbursed.
So this is up to $300,000. Can we spend that money on the property that we already have leased
Yes, yes.
and then additional property?
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's the initial purpose, is to purchase that property, build that parking lot. But they allocated enough funds potentially to purchase the additional property and expand that parking lot under that $300,000.
And is there a time frame in which you have to use those funds?
Yes, you have to be underway by October of this year.
Underway. So if we were to get those funds, we would have to be underway on both projects. Right.
Council, have any other remarks on the matter regarding this?
I confess I really wasn't paying good attention. I should have when you started addressing this subject. Is it inappropriate to talk to those people about that additional property?
Regarding, sorry for trying to make contact.
Or you have?
Been unsuccessful. Sorry.
Man used to work out of town. I don't know. Is his father still living there?
No, his father's deceased. He's a hard fellow to catch. I've been trying to catch him.
Well, a lot of cars show up there during the day and
They all say that permanently.
Is it a car lot?
No, you can say it was a lot of fun.
Oh,
well, there's a Corvette, and a couple of cars that show up in the morning, things like, end up there during the day.
Does other council members have comments regarding this? Just done a minute, please.
How much is this going to cost the people of Summerfield? You're talking about a $300,000 stimulus, but you're also talking about a massive project. This originally was going to be shared with Greensboro, the county, and Summerfield. And 1/3 share was a very large percentage for the minimal tax base that we pay out. Just once, before you start agreeing to something, Michael, please tell us, how much is this going to cost the people of Summerfield? And please be accurate as you can, and as honest as you can.
Do that every time. And as of right now, we have expended $3,500 for engineering services. And at this point, I'm being told by the MPO that they're not, while they talked about a match at the meeting, they have not come and requested any additional match at this point. So if nothing else changes, then that would be our total investment from the town of Summerfield.
Are you committed though? Are you committed if they come back and say, well, we still want to match? Because you're making it sound like you're going to be committed.
The council will have to approve a memorandum of agreement that will include any required matches, if there's anything additional.
Okay, does council have any other remarks?
So our expenditure will be up to $300,000 and no more? What are you saying?
No, what I'm saying is that the stimulus funds
Yeah.
dedicated are $300,000.
Right.
The MPO discussed the idea of a match, but they didn't indicate what type of match. And what I explained is we've already done the engineering work, so we've already put money up.
Okay.
I don't know at this point whether they're going to require, I don't know if I think they'd like to see us match, but I don't know if the stimulus requires a match. In my opinion, it probably doesn't, shouldn't require a match. So what I'm saying is that as far as I'm aware, as of today, the only funds are the funds that we've already expended, which is $3,500.
And what I'm asking you is, what Gail asked, the entire project is not going to cost more than $300,000?
Right, yes, the entire project. So it's not a case where we're going to match 300 and it'd be a $600,000
No, I
project.
wasn't concerned with
Yeah,
that. I just wanted to know
That's
if the
what,
entire project is not going to cost more than the $300,000 we may get from the state.
should not, anyway.
And I'd like to know projection on what it's gonna cost to maintain. That's never addressed. So the yearly maintenance, follow that.
That's part of the cost. You know, how much is it going to cost the people of Summerfield? And the maintenance, you know, the park, here, this little park is
We have other
40,000
council
a year for
discussion.
maintenance. It's 200.
Okay, next item, discussion of transfer secondary roads to the county.
Provided to you two different state bills, State Bill 758, or excuse me, Senate Bill 758, Senate Bill 1001. These are available at the General Assembly website. The proposals that are here are two different methods put forward by two different groups, I guess, of senators on ways to figure out how to fund transportation projects in North Carolina, transportation facilities. The overreaching issue here, and it was addressed, or is trying to be addressed through a study that was called the 21st Century Transportation Study, that was done a year or so by the state government, is that North Carolina is in a funding crisis when it comes to transportation improvements. And with the gas tax receipts declining, since we don't get a dollar back for the dollar we put into the federal government on fuel surcharges, and the fact that cars are getting better fuel mileage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, lots of more road miles, we are well behind from the state point of view on our road building and maintenance, and so they're trying to come up with ways to fix that. And various items have been proposed. One of these bills was actually submitted last year, but never made it out of committee. It died in committee. This year, it seemed to have a little bit more traction. The economy, of course, is in a worse state. The state is in a worse position to the point where there pretty much is not going to be another road repaved in Guilford County this year unless it comes through some sort of stimulus package to the DOT in unincorporated areas or in small towns. That's what they've told me. Whether it's true or not, we'll see. But the state basically is running out of money on transportation projects. What these two bills do in different ways are trying to transfer responsibility for secondary roads to someone other than the state. A secondary road, the transportation corridor mapping changes, Senate Bill 1001, looks very innocuous. It talks about taking roads that are major thoroughfares and minor thoroughfares and secondary